Okay, Mongoose Jake here, coming with a couple of Panther games to show what this tank, which happens to be my favorite, can do. Now, again, this is my absolute favorite vehicle in the game, and I actually have taken this thing up to 100% mark excellence a couple times. But we have two games here. First one here, of course, is on Overlord, and then the second one will actually be on Fjords. Now, this is a Tier 7 German medium, of course, one of the most iconic and famous tanks of all time. And here in World of Tanks, it sports the highest base penetration for all the Tier 7 mediums, with having 194 on the standard AP, which is just fantastic. It allows you to really not have to use too much premium if you at least have a little clue of how to aim. And it has enough mobility to get around, as well as, well, enough to get hit by artillery. But it has enough mobility to get around, enough armor to produce some bounces here and there. And aside from the gun, it actually has very good view range, especially as you have it fully set up. I run a rammer, vents, and optics on this, and as you can see, my view range is maxed out. I actually, in total, I believe my view range on the move is about 480, or just a couple meters shy of that. And that is with also having Brothers in Arms, and on top of that, having recon and situational awareness trained. Because the Panther, despite its known status as a pure sniper, it doesn't have to be. You look at the team list here, and you can see, well, I'm third tank from the top. I can easily get aggressive. You still need to be somewhat cautious. The side armor's terrible on this. But the frontal armor profile, as well as the turret, is good enough. And that high rate of fire, as you see I'm moving up here, I'm going to try to take on these light tanks, because they are giving some serious problems. Getting up here and using that rate of fire, and the base accuracy being so good, allows you to auto-aim a lot. So, take down the Type 64, the T50-2 flips, but getting rid of the enemy's vision is key. So I'm taking care of that, and here's a KV-2 that presents himself. Critical damage, because I'm going for the tracks. Critical damage again, and there's the track shot. The base accuracy, again, and the high rate of fire, he's stuck. He'd already used his repair kit. He's done for. And you see him shaking his turret. No, no, no. But it's over for him. I have enough penetration to punch through the track and in through the hull. So I am easily going to take him down. Free damage as far as I am concerned, and his game is over. It is 5-1, looking like a fairly secure game. I'm already on 1,300 plus damage, with a little bit of spotting, a little bit of block damage, and it's looking like a win. However, I need to press the advantage because the enemy team carelessly pushed beach. As you can see, them still stuck down there at C and D2 area. I'd never push beach. Don't ever. It's just a horrible waste of your time and effort. And it will cost your team, because there are top forces here, meaning the people who actually stayed on top of the map. They're playing well, but they're just completely outnumbered and outmatched. So, if their heavies had came up, this could have been a close battle. As is, it's still sitting at 6-3, 6-4, because you see, their team's not doing bad. It's just that I'm able to now sit here and put this very nice gun to work, sniping through the bushes, and now I'm also going to pull duty as spotter. Lining up a shot here on the T-78 as he tries to escape. Eliminate him from the game, and this pesky VK, which in its own right is a very, very good tank. You'll see that here in a video pop up sometime on the channel, where I had a 4,000 damage plus game in it to completely save the game. See, what I was referring to is this game probably could have been a loss already had their team played better. As far as deployment-wise, the beach deployment kills your chances of winning because it's still a reasonably close game. It's 9-7. As I motor along here in the Panther, I've already gotten about 1,800 damage with a little more spotting. And now you're going to see me pull up and long-range weaponry here. I fire before aiming. Now, German guns, you must aim them. You must aim them. They do not, and this is pretty much across the board, they do not like snapshotting. Now, I'm going to pull down, and you see here, I spot the D-Max. He spots me because I pulled past the bush. Now you're going to see the rate of fire plus the health pool of the Panther go to work. Because this is a trade. The D-Max has very good DPM. I'm covering the holes through the dead holes here of the tanks. But the accuracy and consistency of this gun, I took a lot of damage there from a D-Max. Just be forewarned, those put out a lot of damage quickly. But with the Panther, I was able to just even weather that storm and out DPM him. And now, in doing so, it's opened up this game. We went from 9-7 to now all of a sudden it's 13-7. As I get a couple more sneaky shots here into the VK. And there's the M44 to finish him off. Just a good case of showing the Panther's combination of usable mobility, a little bit of the armor being shown, and just mainly the accuracy, rate of fire, consistency of the gun. And that is the strong point of the Panther. As you see here, me going through the metals, and I did get a high caliber out of it, which got me a bond there. And easily led the team in both experience and in raw damage. But after taking a look at these statistics, we're going to move on to the second game, which is going to be here as a Tier 7 battle on Fjords. Now, again, when you're top tier in a Panther, you do not need to play the role of sniper. Leave that for, like, say, the Super Hellcats and E25s of Tier 7. You, as a Panther driver, can easily move up and put the good frontal armor, the good turret, and the incredibly great gun to good use by being aggressive, especially early. Most people don't expect to see a tank as big as the Panther and as mobile as the Panther, at least in a straight line, showing up to very early key positions. As you see, our E25 just kind of gets in the way, ramming into both me and the AMX-12T, who is actually doing the right thing, and he's going along with me. And see, we also have a T-3485 tagging along. But you can play aggressive in certain situations with a Panther. Now, it does, like you see here, turn like a boat, but it has very good straight line speed, which is allowing me to get into this early position. And you see, I am letting the AMX and the T-3485 focus down the 150-2, and I'm going to push up here and get rid of this second one. Things like Tier 6s are not a huge threat to the Panther. You have, again, good frontal armor, great gun, good turret. You can easily just push up. I get a little over eager here in a second, but you can push up and start weeding out some of the early enemies. MT25, spamming premium. That's how World Tanks is. See, I'm trying to chase down because I love to get rid of light tanks early. As you see, the Comet and E25 both have two angles of fire on me, so I'm going to back up to where I can keep my front to the Comet. Now, this is how you should play the Panther. All of a sudden, a wild King Tiger C shows up. I back up a little too far, take a hit from the E25, because what I was wanting to do is get a little bit of momentum. Again, Panther's a big tank. It's about as big as the King Tiger. But, boom. But if you can get a run at it, like I was going to say, it's a big tank. Has a lot of weight to it. If you can get a run at it, it's also a quick tank and good for flanking and ramming. But, again, the turning is the issue. So, my goal there was I was going to do a drive-by on the King Tiger and keep going. But, well, he lost his turret, so it worked out. But now I do have very good view range here. I'm going to push up and spot, as well as try to lay down some crossfire to get rid of that horde of enemies in the bushes. And this is where the Panther, again, can shine. You have a very, very high rate of fire on an accurate gun. As you see there, I was aiming at the tracks, and it wasn't full aim, but it nailed the track, and now I'm going to keep him pinned there while we tear him apart. Now, even if I hadn't killed him being tracked allows teammates to have easy shots on him. And another key thing on the Panther, you have very, very cheap ammo. Ammo being based off of its caliber. This is a 75mm gun, so small gun. It's cheap to blind fire. You have an extremely high rate of fire. So blind fire to death in this thing. There's no reason not to. You also have an extreme ammo capacity. I've already dealt almost 2,000 damage, and I still have 42 rounds of AP left. I haven't even dug into the premium or my couple little HE shells. You have a huge ammo capacity. So blind fire like crazy. And don't be, and as you see, I'm pushing up again. I'm spotting their T-25 AT. The Panther can play like this. And personally, I think it's perfectly suited to it. Now I'm going to auto-aim on the SU-100Y, which allows me to keep an eye on the other enemies on the map. And I can pull back behind the rock if he decides to turn. And again, high rate of fire. That SU-100Y, even if he did start to turn, I could get it in another 2 shots before he actually got turned around and I had to get concerned. Now remember what I said about going fast in a straight line? Well, I fire at the Comet and then crush the M44. Love doing that. But, and there's the frontal armor. I got to bounce out of the Comet trying to fire at me. Now he's on my side. He's going to go right through there. But I'm just auto-aimed and turning, because my gun's good enough to punch through the Comet anywhere it wants to at any time. And there's the high rate of fire. I missed my first shot on T-34-85M. Second one goes in, and third one fired in the sky as a salute to a good game and a win. But we'll move on and take a look at the statistics. I'll leave them up in the background. It, of course, was an ace. Had nearly 3,500 damage. But the Panther is not your pure sniper that everybody thinks it is. I mean, it can play that role when it's, you know, middle or bottom tier. But it's a very, very capable tier 7 medium. That's exactly why it's my favorite tank in the game at my favorite tier, basically. So I hope you enjoyed these 2 games showcasing what the Panther can actually do when played properly. But this is Mongus Jake showcasing my favorite vehicle, trying to give a little bit of an idea of what it can do. Hope you enjoyed watching these.